welcome to the
Absolutely.
Aaron Werner Podcast on iCode Media. I'm Dr. Aaron Werner, and I'm joined today by my good friend, Jennifer Planitz, who I consider a mentor, because every time I talk with her, I walk away with just ideas and inspiration, and all the cool things that she does, but even more so the how she views the world. And for those who don't know her and haven't met Jennifer, I'm excited for you to do so through this. And Jennifer, I appreciate you making time because you guys just opened a new practice as well. So I can only imagine that you just have lots of free time on your hands right now. So
It's incredible. This is our third week open and we're booked solid. So my challenge in New Mexico is hiring enough team members to support my doctors at my location because thankfully the schedule is full.
Wow. So third week open and book solid. That wasn't what we were going to talk about, but I'll make a note to swing back to it because I know that my ears just peaked up, and I'm sure everybody else listening said, "How do I do that?" But what I wanted to get into today was a comment you said about helping our team members. You brought up team members, but before we dive in, can you just give us a background, introduce who you are? You're in New Mexico. What your practice setup looks like?
Yeah, I've been a Vision Source practice for over 25 years now. I'm a Vision Source administrator in New Mexico. We have 6 doctors currently. We are a little bit landlocked at our primary flagship location, booked out several weeks there, so we just recently opened a new practice. But I think one of the things we wanted to talk about was just how do we lift our team members up? What is our opportunity there? Mm-hmm. We are exposed to the best of the best minds in our profession and the best staff members from our profession and the best business minds. And oftentimes we kind of expect everyone to be playing on our level, but that's not really fair to them because they haven't been raised the way we have. They haven't had the opportunities we've had. And in our office, we're just trying to find a way to bring some of that knowledge and cultural exposure to them. One way we're doing that in our practice is, well, we wanted to do a daily huddle. That was not going to work because for quality of life issues, we've shifted our staff to 4 10-hour days. So a 10-hour day is long enough, having them come in 15 minutes early. We just didn't feel like that was going to work. Yeah. So we communicate via Slack in our office. So we created a lead channel. We encouraged everyone to sign up for the lead channel. We gave them all a Starbucks gift certificate on Valentine's Day. And the challenge was to love yourself. Love yourself by engaging in the lead channel. In the lead channel, we study Stoic philosophy. We have a question, a reflection of the day. We have a silly dad joke or a silly optometry joke. And we encourage every staff member to go on and post their reflection of the day and to comment on each other's reflection of the day. And the way we're getting them to do this is every time they get on and engage, we enter them in a raffle for the month. And it's something small, like this month, it's a $50 Target gift card. So for every time they engaged in the Slack channel, they will get entered into a raffle for a $50 gift card. It's just a way to bring culture and exposure and Stoic philosophy to people who are otherwise not exposed to that kind of background.
That's pretty neat. I've been taking notes, and because admittedly I haven't done a good enough job with my team on trying to bring in the stuff I'm engaged to, mostly because it's I felt challenged on how I do so, right? Because I wanted it to be, let's have a sit down and have a meeting, and when that didn't work, the train kind of got off the tracks, and I didn't have a better way to do it, other than encouraging them to listen to what we do on podcast, but certainly not on a daily level like you do. That's impressive. How was it taken up by your team when you said, hey, we're going to have this lead channel, and we want you guys to sign up, and we're going to send you Stoic quotes of the day? What was their initial reaction?
Honestly, the people who are going to engage in that kind of learning are going to engage, and the people who aren't just aren't. Even if you gathered these people 15 minutes early at a daily huddle and read them a Stoic philosophy quote, those who aren't going to engage are not going to be tuned in. They aren't going to engage. We're trying to meet people where they are our teammates will hop on Slack even when they're not at the office. We don't encourage them to do that. We encourage them to unplug when they're not at the office, but we have some chronic slackers that can't unplug. Even when they're on vacation, they cannot unplug, but we just encourage them. We just want to meet them where they are and offer this. It's not a requirement. It's an offering for leadership development in small little bite-sized chunks where they don't have to commit a Saturday to it, or they don't have to come in early for it. Just during the day, when they have a minute between patient care, they can just process some of their thoughts online in that Slack channel.
That's pretty cool. So as a practice owner, of course, if I do something, I think it's the best thing since sliced bread, and so I want everybody to be as equally as excited about it as I am.
Right, right.
I can imagine when you first launch it, you put energy behind it, and I'm going to ask how you organize this to make sure you don't miss a day and you stay on top of it in a minute. But how do you handle kind of the emotional gut punch when somebody says, yeah, I'm not interested?
That's okay. That's okay. I show up as who I want to be. They can show up as who they want to be. And it may not be for them today, but maybe in a week or two where they're having a fight with their mom, or somebody doesn't show up that was supposed to meet them for coffee, maybe they'll think, well, maybe there was something. Maybe I should read this. But it's not for everybody at this moment in time. And that's okay. Like you, we get all excited about things in our practice, and we're almost kind of hurt when other people aren't excited about it. But we need to realize that we bring to the table, and we show up the way we want to show up. We can't control the way other people show up. We just do our best.
I love that. And I think that's a reminder that I can use today and frequently go back and use, because too often I think we want people, as you started, we want people to think like us, be like us. I remember my mentor in San Diego pulled me aside and said, Aaron, I got this new, at the time it was a new autorefractor keratometer, and he said, I spent all night reading the manual, but my staff could have cared less. And I laughed and I said, well, that's because they didn't spend the $50,000 to bring it in, right? It was a long time ago. And I said, and they're not going to get anything more out of it, right? So, but I didn't have the right answer to help him understand that they're not you, right? So I love what you just said, that you show up how you show up, and they can show up how they can show up.
We can't control other people. We spend a lot of our time, what I would describe as suffering in advance, in ruminating, in thinking about things. I could have said that. I should have done that. That's not useful.
No.
You just show up as the person you want to be. I can't control who's getting laid off of the federal government. Why am I worrying about that? That's not my problem. The only thing I can control is my response to it and my calm, and just continue to show up as the person I want to be, and I want to be a helper.
Ooh, I like that. And for those who don't know the Stoic philosophy, it was epitomized very well with what you just said, but you brought up Stoic philosophy a couple times, so a brief summary. How would you describe what that is, and why do you like that philosophy enough to share with your teams?
Stoic philosophy is ancient philosophy that it's life lessons, it's how to live and how to be a good person. That's basically what it is. We practice Stoic philosophy. We show up as the people we want to be. We can't control the outside world. The only thing we can control is our response to it. And these are basic life lessons that not everyone understands, not everyone knows, but they are very grounding, and they really help you mentally feel better in a chaotic world. We think that our time right now is the most tumultuous there's ever been on the planet. It's been that way for time beyond memory.
Yep.
And the more we get grounded in that and realize it, the better. Ryan Holiday, he's the primary influencer that really promotes Stoic philosophy. He has a book that's called The Daily Stoic that a lot of our resources are coming from. But he also has a daily email that you can sign up for free and have Stoic philosophy, a different meditation, short meditation, delivered to your inbox every single day. He also has one that's geared just towards dads. I think his stuff is great. I think his writing is very grounding, and I find it very useful in my day-to-day life.
Yep. As did I. In fact, I think where this started was we did a book nerds discussion on The Obstacle is the Way.
Yes.
And I admitted on
Classic.
that discussion, it was great. Trevor Maurer with Team suggested it, and I thought it was going to be the Navy SEAL David Goggins, put a 100-pound back on and hike a big mountain and, get on an airplane and just stare straight ahead for 4 hours, which it was absolutely not. I hadn't been introduced to Ryan Holiday before that book, but it was fantastic. You told me about the Daily Stoic emails, and so I put them on. I was hesitant at first because you used the word meditation, so I was a little worried that we were going to get into the yogi Zen stuff, but it really was just a short little quote, little tidbit that just made you think. And so I appreciated that because I don't sit still well, but I can think and ruminate on kind of little insights that he would share in that email.
I don't think he goes to the woo, as we say. I don't think he's there. It's just grounding.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. And it's been interesting too when bad things happen, because they do, right? When challenges happen, when they do, just that extra pause to, one, be okay with the frustration, but two, just say, what can I change? What can I not change? And what positives can I turn out of this? It's just shifting that perspective just a little bit has, at least for me, certainly helped to help me feel better about things. But I found some really cool opportunities that I think I would have overlooked had I just been in my, woe is me feels.
The human existence was never meant to be happy, happy, happy all the time. Life is 50-50. And as my life coach says, she says, 50% of the time you are going to feel like ass. And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. She's very down to earth.
Good.
And when those times come, welcome them, roll out the red carpet. There is a lesson for you there. And here's the thing. Aaron, would you go to the gym? Do you want the weights to be light?
No, not at all.
Do you want the weights to be heavy so you break down and rebuild?
Absolutely.
That's what happens when life doesn't go your way.
Yeah. You're
breaking down and rebuilding, and that's your opportunity. And as you know, the obstacle is the way.
Absolutely. The only downside to that book is I now quote that phrase to my kids and my wife, and I think I need to find a new phrase. They're getting overhearing. The obstacle is the way.
Just read another one of his books.
Yeah. So I was told I'm not yoga. I need to find a new saying. So for the daily Slack channel, I love it. And do you pull just the quote straight from some of his books? Where do you get the content that you put back in the Slack channel, so that because I imagine you don't want to make more work for yourself, and you want to make it a kind of a daily habit, so that you get it done every day. You're not letting your team down. What does that process look like?
Okay, so I'm going to confess my secret to you.
Please.
My children are not optometrists, but they both work for me. My daughter and her husband are orchestrating this all behind the scenes. They're selecting the reflection. So my daughter's husband has a background with the Ritz-Carlton.
Okay.
And he's been involved. We've hired him on a part-time basis to help us kind of stabilize our practice culture. And he has really been on us to implement the daily huddle. And we just kept telling him, Jesse, we can't ask these people to be there longer than 10 hours in a day. Mm-mm. And then the Slack channel was born, and that seemed to be a good idea for everyone. But Cara and Jesse are currently generating the content.
Okay.
So I will tell you that we started this. We wanted to kick this off on Valentine's Day with the Love Yourself kickoff. We got everybody a cute little Valentine's Day Starbucks card. All they had to do was sign up for the channel. But Cara and Jesse are implementing this now with us. I'm sure there would be a path to where if someone was interested in introducing this to their staff, this content's already created. I don't see why they couldn't offer it to other people.
So that's cool. Two things that you said there that I wrote down. One was that you went back to your team, right? The secret sauce is our teams. And and while they're doing it, I think that a lot of value comes from you giving them the opportunity, right? To let them shine, to let them figure out who they are and share that with the team. And and then we don't have to do it all ourselves.
No.
You wear way too many hats to have to do it. So I was scared you were going to give me something else to do on my plate, but I can find somebody on the team who loves this stuff and can help lead discussions.
Exactly. And I can tell you, I do read the Daily Stoic every year. There's just a short meditation. Read it on my phone. It's a quick, what I would call a bathroom read. Quick read. And that's where they're pulling the content from.
Okay.
Is they're pulling it from the Daily Stoic.
Nice. Do they put their thoughts with it, or do they just throw out like, hey, here's basically the meditation from the Daily Stoic, and then wait for people to respond back?
No, they will choose, and they won't post the whole meditation.
Yeah.
They'll choose a couple of key lines from it. They'll give the staff a thought to reflect on, something they can reflect and post. They will include a corny joke for people who like the corny joke. But no, they just have a little reflection in there.
Okay.
So it's a couple sentences from the Daily Stoic. How has change impacted your life? Post it in the comments here. And then a quick little joke.
Cool. I like that. And I like the question too, because it's inviting somebody to engage. It's putting them in a direction for how to comment, I guess.
Correct. We want thoughtful engagement, not just, hey, let's read this. We want thoughtful engagement.
Nice. How have you seen? So you started it February, and so it's been this February, right?
Just a couple months.
Just a couple months. Yep.
Or I'm sorry, couple weeks.
Couple
Yep.
weeks. So I love when things just start, because I can ask, what changes have you seen just in the last couple weeks from this in your team or in the office culture or whatnot?
Well, it's kind of early to say, but I think patience and tolerance among team members.
Patience, not people coming in to get eye exams, but patience is like, I could take a breath. Right.
I have plenty of those.
Yeah.
Patience, I think, our staff also, most of our staff they really want to do their absolute best when they're there, and they get really kind of worked up and hard on themselves. Mm-hmm. So I think patience and tolerance, even with themselves, we all make mistakes, and they're really hard on themselves when they make mistakes. Yeah. So just patience and tolerance with other people, and patience and tolerance with themselves.
Nice. That's interesting you said that. I find it too that they have higher expectations for the most part on themselves and on each other than I have on them. And in some ways it's fantastic, because they produce a better experience than maybe I would produce. Right? Not that it's bad, but they're so passionate about what they do, but I also think that there's not a lot of room for grace. And so helping them understand that it's okay to make mistakes. They happen.
We need to help them eliminate friction during their day. We have to help them eliminate frustration and friction. It's never the mountain ahead of you. It's always the sand in your shoe. And the more we can help them reduce friction and frustration, the happier team members we will have, and the longer they will stay with our practices.
It's never the mountain ahead of you. It's always the sand in your shoe. I like that.
100%.
Wow. It's so right. But that's we focus on the mountain, right?
We do. We like to give the mountain all our energy,
yep,
while the sand is causing a blister in our shoe.
Nice. How do you pull the sand out of them? Not to understand what those friction points are that they have, because we want to focus on the mountain, right? That's the big thing in front of us, and we don't know what's in their shoe unless they tell us, because it's in their shoe. And some of them are so strong, right, to the point of being stubborn, that they won't tell me that, hey, I've got a bleeding blister in my foot. Give me a minute to dump the sand out. How do you pull that out of them?
So we have several meetings a week. We're kind of alternating, trying to find our groove now as we have this other practice. But we used to just have an all-team meeting every week, but now we're alternating it with senior leadership starting and following up with departmental meetings, and then every other week having the all-team meeting. I think that's helpful. But one thing that's been really helpful for me is try jumping in and being a tech in your office. You will learn where the sand is in the shoe. Go sit in your optical and just listen. Walk into your lab and just listen. You will find sand.
Yeah, especially if you're looking for it. Yeah.
It will slap you in the face.
Wow.
Be a tech for a day. It will slap you in the face.
I just got goosebumps, like the scary kind, when you said go be a tech for it. Yeah. Yeah, I remember, and I might have shared this before on previous episodes, but I remember sitting in the optical. I can't remember what I was doing, but a patient came in and grabbed some Maui Jims and said, "I want to buy these." And I don't know what made me listen to the conversation, but I perked up. In my wonderfully trained, fantastic optician said, "When was your last eye exam?" And he said, "I just want to buy these sunglasses." And she says, "Okay, well, do you have a current prescription to put in?" And he said, "I just want to buy these sunglasses." "Okay, well, are you a patient here?" "No, I just want to buy the sunglasses." "Okay, well, let me pull up and see what your insurance authorization, if you're eligible under your insurance." And I think you can see where this is going. And by this point, I was appalled. But I let it go because I wanted to see what was happening, and I was appalled at myself, not at them, because I had trained this. Ultimately, it was my fault. And we finally got to, "I just want to buy these." "Okay, cool." And I said, "Great, we're going to sell some sunglasses." And they hand them the intake form, and they say, "Well, I need to put you in the system before I can sell them to you. So can you fill out this sheet of paper front and back?" And the individual's like, "You know what? I'm good," and walked out and left. I immediately apologized to the team and said, "Hey, I have failed you all because it should not be this hard." But I would have never thought, because that's what we do every other time, right? And so we even had to create just a person in the system, because you can't charge them out in the PM system just as a transaction. It's a walk-in to give them a receipt. "Here you go. Have fun, enjoy your day. Here's the sunglasses." But you're right, and I think that was probably more than just the sand in the shoe. That might have been some sharp glass that got stuck into that shoe. But there's some silly things that we do we just don't know about.
And there you go, Aaron. The obstacle is the way. That was your learning moment.
Oh, I've got lots of learning moments. That was a very good one.
Yes.
Do you find that when you are working with your team, or they're working with each other, or your managers work with them, that they pull up some of the quotes or the Stoic daily sayings when they're kind of in their coaching of each other or helping each other get through challenges?
I think occasionally something like that will come up. I can't say that it comes up in every meeting, but somebody will say, "Oh, yeah, just like you can't be that hard on yourself."
Yeah.
We can't be ruminating like that. I encourage all my senior leadership team members and my doctors to get in there and comment. And sometimes instead of pulling the comment from the Stoic, they'll pull a comment that someone else made.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So you're kind of building that whole culture. Yeah, somebody's listening and reading. I like that. And I'm interested too in your structure, going from an all-team meeting to having leads in the departments. Senior leadership, whatnot. We're doing the same thing in the office. My role with Vision Source keeps me out of there physically a lot, and so trying to train others to train people is a very difficult task, because I think leading and managing are very different skill sets. I don't think you have to be good at one to be good at the other, and being good at one doesn't necessarily mean you're good at the other. But my mission in life is helping to develop people. Sometimes that means kicking and screaming. Other times they come along happy. But what have you found trying to coach your senior leaders to then take that information and leadership back to their into respective teams?
Well, we meet with our senior leadership team to kind of iron out higher level problems that we're having in the practice. I think just meeting with them and giving them a forum and giving them grace to take back to their team members and bringing their team members' concerns to us. The most important thing, it doesn't matter how you do it, just have an open channel for communication that you can discuss things. Because sending things back and forth in text and Slack all the time, well, that solves a lot of issues. Meanings can easily be misconstrued in that fashion. I just think it's super important. And, to your point, Aaron, I'm not in the office every day. And these meetings have to happen when we're not there. I don't know if you use a template. We have templates that we use for the different meetings, and whoever's running the meeting goes off the template. reads off the template, fills in the template, goes down the list. This is what we're going to talk about.
Yep. We didn't before, and we had a weekly team meeting for an hour every Tuesday morning where we pulled the whole team in. I'm right at the size where we probably should start breaking off into department meetings, which is what I'm looking at doing this year, as opposed to having less all team meetings, and then developing my individual leaders that lead each team, because I can't be there all the time. And some of the challenges that rise up to me shouldn't. I want them to be able to just fix it on the spot, right? It gives better care. It gives them an opportunity to develop, and if I'm still in the way, they can't grow. So I need to move so that they can then grow and backfill, which means the team underneath them can grow as well. So we haven't had a template yet. We're working on implementing EOS this year, and I like the level 10 meeting format. I think we might modify it just a little bit for our needs because 90 minutes is kind of long for most of our meetings. But
Yeah.
but I think if I tweak it enough, at least the structure's there and there's a constant following that we know everybody needs to. And really for me, that particular meeting, starting off talking about good things in everybody's stuff is a challenge for me because I just like to jump in and start talking. And so allowing that little bit of engagement, I think, will help. What structure do you guys use?
The Myopia Collective. Cooper Vision and the AOA have partnered in a groundbreaking initiative to change the way optometrists in the U.S. treat children with myopia. The purpose of the Myopia Collective is to rally the profession of optometry and its allies to interrupt the status quo and elevate the new standard of care for children with myopia. Every individual is encouraged to become a member of the collective. By joining, you commit to taking action to help slow the progression of myopia in children. You'll receive updates and information about the collective and its work in the fight against myopia, gain access to educational opportunities and resources offered by the collective, and hear from change agents, the ambassador optometrists selected to serve as advocates for community and policy change that facilitates the mission of the collective. Scan the QR code or click on the link in the show notes to join the collective today.
In the past, our focus revolved around prescribing MacuHealth or MacuHealth Plus to patients at risk of macular degeneration, while also recommending it to collegiate and professional athletes for enhanced contrast sensitivity in sports performance. However, this year's introduction of the Life Meter has been a game changer. The Life Meter revealed a concerning truth. Many of my patients have alarmingly low skin carotenoid levels, indicating potential deficiencies in essential body tissues like the retina and brain. Supported by over 30 peer-reviewed publications, Life Meter's accuracy, consistency, and effectiveness has been demonstrated across 2,000 subjects with diverse backgrounds. With this newfound insight, I can now have meaningful conversations about carotenoid levels with all of my patients, even those who may seem outwardly healthy. To learn more about this empowering technology, feel free to contact your MacuHealth representative or click on the link in the show notes. Together, let's optimize patient care and elevate their well-being.
So I developed our structure. We use, we open with one of our core values. We read the core value. We talk about how we implement that in our practice every day, whoever's running the meeting. Then we start out with after action review. What do we want to keep? What do we want to improve? What do we want to start? What do we want to stop? We have a patient of the week that we nominate.
A patient of the week?
Yeah, we nominate a patient of the week.
Okay.
So we had gotten to a point in our staff meetings where there was a lot of complaining about patients. And not every patient is perfect.
No.
But there was just a lot of whining. So to shift the whining, we said we're going to nominate a patient of the week. Who did you work with? Whose day did you make? Who was super helpful, super thankful? Who did you help the most this week? And we nominate a patient of the week. We take nominations from the floor. Whoever nominates the patient of the week writes them a thank you. Hey, we just wanted to let you know you really lifted us up this week. Thanks so much for coming in to see us. Here's a $10 Starbucks card. Have a nice day.
That's cool.
So that's part of our meeting. We always close with our mission statement, and we close with our one-liner, which is we help people see.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty cool. I think it brings out the stories that we don't hear because, to your point, we like to focus on the negative right? It's probably our survival instincts that we were, inherently in us, but the positive gets overlooked quickly for the negative.
Humans have been looking for problems for time beyond memory, and that just doesn't serve us anymore.
No.
That just does not serve us. That's killing us. So yeah, look for the positive. You had 1 or 2 cranks for the week, and you're going to ignore the other 300 great patients you had? Doesn't make sense.
No, not at all. And I think a lot of it, reflecting on myself, comes back, right? Leadership and the culture flows down. And so it's easy for me to focus on where we could have done better. And I think personally I do it because I really want to be better and try to improve, but I look for challenges to do so. But also in looking for that, perhaps I come across more negative. And for the team, and they see that I'm focusing on where to improve, so they're going to focus on where to improve as opposed to focusing on all the really cool stuff.
Right. Now, so let's be clear. We do read our reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Every week. We out loud, we read the reviews we got online and say, okay, what happened here? I mean, and sometimes it's, this person was upset that their insurance didn't cover a Tom Ford frame. Okay, I can't do anything about that. Where did we fall short? Mm-hmm. Where did we send the glasses to Heights instead of Rio? Where did we not check on that frame? Where did their contacts go? We focus on the things that we can improve.
Yeah, I like that. I like reading the reviews every week too, because there's a lot of positives from patients in there.
Yeah.
And they call out often our staff. So
yep.
At least for me, they don't call them out by name. They call them out by attributes, right? So the lady with the red hair or the this and that. And so it gives us kind of a nice chuckle, but we don't actively read them. I'm making notes because, like I said, Jennifer, at the beginning, you are one of my mentors. And every time I talk to you, I get some really cool ideas. And what I love about it is that nothing you really have ever shared with me is hard, right? It's the opposite of the negative sand, right? It's the positive sand that just the little bits here and there make a big difference.
Well, that's very kind and gracious of you, Aaron. I'll say one of my favorite things about you is every time I call you with a problem, it's like, well, I'm not a miracle worker, but let me see if I can help you with that. And I have these visions of you going, oh God, Jennifer, just turn your iPad the other way. When I text you or call you, but you're always so gracious and you always say, let me help you with that.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I enjoy working with you, and I love when you bring me a challenge. I mean, I don't love challenges, but when you bring me something, is it's never a complaint. And I think there's a difference between seeing, hey, and I would love your insights on how I can teach others this, but you don't bring me a problem and just say, hey, Aaron, this is stupid, right? You say, hey, here's my challenge. Here's what I need. Here's the outcome I'm looking for. I just can't figure out how to get there for one reason or another, right? Here's what I'm struggling with. So you're really clear in what the help is that you need, as opposed to I hate the rain and it's raining outside. Well, I can't fix that. Or patients
right.
are dumb today. Okay, well, how do I fix that, right? So you do a really good job of being clear about asking for specific help, which makes it a lot easier to assist with because now I know what to do, right? And if I don't know the answer, I know who to go to get that answer back. Is that something just inherited that you do? Were you taught somewhere?
Well, I would say that I've studied human behavior a lot. Mm-hmm. I've gone through programs for life coaching that has helped. I read a lot. As they say, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. Yeah. When someone brings me a complaint like, God, the rain is stupid, why is it raining today? Then I would come back to them and say, well, what do you think the answer is? How can you make this work for you? What does this make possible for you today? And how does this serve you?
Yep. I like that you kind of throw it back on them to help be part of the discussion, be part of the finding the solution.
Yeah. The 2 biggest questions are, what does this make possible for you? And how does this serve you?
Oh, I like that.
So they're trained. If they're going to come to me with that, I'm going to ask them those 2 questions. And then sometimes that stops the trip to my office.
It's funny when there's a little bit of a barrier that you somebody described it once as like taking their monkey and giving it to me, and I'm just giving their monkey right back. Right, it's your monkey. I can help. Maybe I'll give you a banana to help calm it for a little bit, but you got to handle your monkey.
It's inherent upon us to help teach people to think. I mean, we've sought out the skills. We've had the time. We've been blessed with the time to go and seek out these life skills. But it's really important that we help our team develop critical thinking skills that will serve them in life.
Yep, 100% agree. Do you have any on your team that are readers like you, or who've kind of picked up on some of your just daily habits after you've modeled them?
I do have a doctor who was a reader before he got to me.
Okay.
I do give my leadership team a book every month. At least every month, I give them a book to read.
Oh.
I can't make them read it.
No.
But I can give it to them, and they can glare at them on their shelf.
What are some of the books you've given them recently?
The most recent one I gave them was Discipline Without Punishment.
Oh.
That's an excellent book for office culture. What did I give them? I gave them a copy of Leaders Eat Last.
That's a good one.
I have a box full of The Obstacle is the Way, waiting to give them next month.
Cool.
Peak Performance is a good one. Atomic Habits.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one.
Classic, just some classic business things. Oh, and another great one to give to your senior leadership team, I don't even know if it's still in print, is the E-Myth Revisited.
Oh, that's been on my read list for a long time. I haven't read it yet.
Again, it's a quick, what I would call a bathroom read. It's a quick read. It's a little bit simplistic, but it's a life lesson about business that a lot of people just don't understand. A lot of people just don't get it. So I recently found a copy of this on Amazon to give to one of my team members who came up to me and said, "Why aren't you in the office more often?" I bought her a copy of that book, and I said, I want you to read this book and then tell me why I'm not in the office more often.
That's I may have to share that one with my team.
Yeah, this book was like literally $7 on Amazon. And I said, look, I apologize, this isn't new. But why don't you just read this and figure out why I'm not in the office more often?
I like it. Yeah, I may have to pass that. I have, whenever I get a new team member, I have to answer the question is, well, obviously you don't care because you're not here, which could be the furthest thing from the truth.
They don't know. I mean, how would she know? I didn't hire her. I don't hire people in my practice. For all she knows, I'm eating bonbons and get my nails done. She doesn't know that.
Yeah. So bonbons are really good, though.
Yeah, it's just a moment on the lips, forever on the hips.
Yeah, birthdays are tough. So I remember my Iron Man days when I could eat pizza and drink Cherry Coke all day long. And it was fantastic.
Cherry Coke.
Oh, Cherry Coke is my favorite drink in the entire world. Followed closely by Cherry Dr. Pepper, but...
On your birthday.
Yeah, it's been years since I've had it. It's,
Yeah.
25 and running Ironmans was all easy.
Yeah, that's a
now.
whole different stratosphere of life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although, for whatever reason, when I do go to the office, the days I'm there, I think they're trying to butter me up because that's the day that everybody brings in treats.
Oh, okay.
Right. And invariably, it's the day where I say, I'm going to eat carrots today, right, and eat healthy and whatnot. And you walk in the back and somebody's made some homemade cookies and some homemade baklava. And it's a good day, but not for the right reasons.
I think the food pornography happens a lot more in your office than you realize.
Oh, I'm sure it
Somebody's always bringing something.
I'm sure it does. So, and that darn bowl of mints at the front desk is what kills me the most.
Oh, yeah. You just, listen, if you cannot moderate, you must abstain.
Yeah.
That's my role.
Yeah, well, you're stronger at that than I am because, right, it's just a little one right now and then a little one right now. I only ever eat one at a time, just a lot of times.
Right. Exactly. Well, you just have to know yourself. Are you a moderator or are you an abstainer? You just have to know yourself.
Yeah, no, I need to work on the abstaining part. from that and from my shoe addiction. So, yeah. Shoes and travel backpacks. I was told by my wife I'm not allowed to bring any more into the house.
Some of them need to go where someone else will find value in them.
Yes. Yep. But then I have room and I need to refill it with something else. Right?
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah, I can rationalize my way into anything. So, but this has been fun. What else do you do? Because I know you have a really good team culture, and I know that you've been able to grow. And every time I talk to you, you're always doing something new and innovative and just unique. How do you get your teams to be on board with all the changes, right? With trying something new. How do you help us get over that I don't like to change mentality?
Positive reinforcement is one of them. There are some practices in town who haven't made any changes since the 1980s, and I will encourage a team member to go and visit that practice if they wonder why it is we're doing what we're doing. The other rule is that in business, you try 100 things to find three that work. And that is the difference between business owners who succeed and business owners who do not. Because most people will try 1 or 2 or 3 things and go, I can't do that. That doesn't work. No, we try 100 things to find 3 that work because this is the way business works. And it's the people who keep trying are the people who succeed. And I think it's just that constant encouragement. Say, hey, this is normal. We try 100 things to find 3 that work. This is normal. Are we, if I recently had one of my doctors saying, well, our staff must think we don't know what we're doing. I'm like, no, that's not it at all. Yeah. We change to grow. And by the way, if you want to go to a place that hasn't changed, I can give you an address to go visit.
Yep.
But this is the way we do things. The only constant in life is change. We're constantly growing and innovating. And by the way, when you asked me for NeuroLens, I brought it in.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. It's. I had an interesting conversation. I think it was with Chris and Kyle not too long ago. Where in school, in healthcare, we're taught not to take risks. Right? We need to get it right. Right? We don't want to just. What I mean by that is if you've got a patient who has glaucoma, right? We follow the prescribed pattern of how we treat, right? We don't kind of come out of left field with ideas and say, well, maybe this time, I'll try X, Y, Z, right? We follow the same kind of prescription pattern on treating different disease states. We follow the same pattern for troubleshooting multifocal contact lenses, whatever the case may be. We tend not to certainly risk without a security net. Right, if we don't want to immediately jump to do a new refractive surgical procedure until we've kind of checked off all the boxes to make sure that we know what we're going into. But in business, I think to your point, we need to risk a lot more, and we need to be much more open to failure to try to find something good as opposed to just playing it safe all the time. Does that make sense?
It does, but that depends on how you define failure.
Okay.
Not succeeding does not equal failure. Failure is just feedback, and you have to receive that as feedback.
Yep.
Whether it's when you get on the scale or you try something at the office that didn't work, it's just feedback. You can't make it mean something. You can't make it mean that you're a failure. You can make it mean that, tried that. Next. What's the next step? Just keep taking the next step.
I like that, changing the perception of failure into feedback. With your team and with your doctors, do you this doctor that said your team must think you're crazy and not know what you're doing? Do you have a dollar amount you're willing to play with? Do you have a timeline you're willing to play with? Like, we'll try something for so long to see if it works, or we're willing to invest up to so much to see if something works on new equipment or new technologies? How do you evaluate what you want to attempt and try the new things in search of those 3 that work?
So most things that we try to implement, we say, hey, we don't go, okay, we're radically changing everything. We're going to change everything right now. We just tell people, so for the next 90 days, we're going to try an experiment, see how it goes, see if we like it. we like it, we're going to keep doing it. If we don't like it, we're going to stop. But we're going to give it 90 days.
Yep.
There are bigger dollar amounts, like, say, opening another practice that you dump a ton of money into,
Yep.
that you have a 5-year commitment on, and we're going to make that work. You know?
Yeah.
There's not a dollar amount limit there.
So that's kind of assuming what I assumed you would say. But I wanted to ask, and I think that the thing you're trying obviously has a different dollar amount. You know, I won't go and buy an IPL. Right? I'm not going to call Luminous and say, hey, I need an IPL if I don't already have a dry clinic that I'm building and growing. I think there's appropriate, I don't want to say risks, but appropriate things that we put in place before we try something new. At least I don't, right? I try to make sure there's a system in place before we spend a lot of time or money into something.
Well, when you make a large commitment, you just have to have a commitment to make it succeed. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all know colleagues who bought IPLs and stuck them in a closet. You have to be committed to make it succeed. You have to be willing to make yourself uncomfortable at first. I got my first IPL in 2018, and I was not comfortable on it. But it's like jumping into cold water, like big breath, here we go. Let's make this work. And it paid itself off in 9 months. And I can tell you for the first 3, I did not know what I was doing. But we got there. Yeah. We figured it out. We have 3 IPLs now. So you just have to mentally be committed to making it work.
Mm-hmm. Now let me ask you this. When you first got your first one, did you guys already have a pretty good system for bringing in new technology within the practice? And so you were able to apply that system to the new IPL technology? Or was it did you have to kind of build the plane as you were going with how you talk to patients, how you introduce technology, how you introduce a non-covered services? Or was that already kind of a built-in system that you had that you were able to plug the technology into?
That's a great question. My husband bought LipiFlow when it was new, and then it turned out it just wasn't his thing, and we had a $70,000 commitment, and so I had to make a buy thing to make it pay, and that's how I got going in the dry eye space. And then it was just a natural complement to that.
Okay.
But I think when we want to, like, anything that you want to buy, you have to be disciplined and make the math work in your head. We kind of have a cooling off period. Okay, we see something cool at the exchange. Oh, God, I need this. We have a cooling off period. We can't just go out there and buy it. We just kind of have to have a moment, think about how are we going to make this work. But once we bring it in, I mean, when you're the owner, like, you got to pay that bill. So you have a hard why to make that thing work.
Yes. Or at least you should, right? It's, yeah.
Once you have that hard why, you get creative.
Yeah. And, well, that's a perfect example of obstacles the way, right? You were gifted. Hopefully it wasn't a happy birthday or Valentine's or anniversary gift when you got dropped the LipiFlow in your lap.
I became the dry eye expert.
Right.
And, you know, it was the obstacles the way. And now it's one of my passions. And the IPL has led me down a whole new aesthetics trail. And it's good for the patient. It's good for the practice.
Yep. And I like how you said that first, right? It's always patient first. Right. Take care of them, you know, assuming that your fee structures and whatnot are all appropriate, right? Right. Just, but taking care of the patient and doing what's right for them, not what they don't need, just what they need. And, you know, the practice ends up taking care of itself.
Well, the patients that got in there and that we started doing IPL on, they were the ones who were asking me, what else can we do?
Oh.
What else can you do for me? What else can we do? And that's how I got down the aesthetics trail, was my patients requesting it.
That's cool.
So if you have 100 patients, 10 of those patients are willing to spend 10 times more with you than the 100. And then one of those patients is willing to spend 100 times more with you. And when you find those patients, you need to keep offering them things, offering them ways to go deeper into your services, because now they have a relationship with you and they want to be invested in you. They are, in effect, buying you. when they buy that procedure. So I always tell my patients, there's nothing here that I haven't done to myself. There's not a supplement I'll ask you to take that I don't take. There's no product here that I would use on myself. So when you identify those patients, they want that new technology. And those are the people who will pay your bills.
I like that. I like the idea of investing in the people that want to invest in you. It's Brianna Rue was on a recent episode and talked about how we're the sharks in Shark Tank, right? And but I think that it's our patients then flip and they become the sharks. And too often we try, or at least I see that we try to be everything to everyone. And that's a real good way of not being really anything good. And I think that's where we get our identity crisis sometimes from, and we lose satisfaction, because when you try to please everyone, you please no one. And that's really hard to go home with.
And the most important thing is you're not pleasing yourself.
No. Right.
That's the most important thing.
Yep. So I can't take care of patients if I'm not in a good place. And
that's true.
The ones that I should be focusing on taking care of and improving the quality for are the ones that want to invest back into us. Because the other 90 will come or they'll go, but really leaning into the people that want to engage with us. That's a cool perspective.
Those 10 and then that one. I'll have, sometimes I'll have doctors tell me, I don't want any more patients. I got plenty of patients. Well, maybe you just want better patients.
Yeah.
Maybe you want those 10 and you want that one. You want better patients.
Mm-hmm. Well, how cool is it when you curate, and curate I think is the right word, curate like the right patient base, the right people you want to work with. I mean, I using a sports.
And you're happy.
You're happy, right?
Every day you go to work, you're happy.
Yeah. I mean, using a sports analogy, whenever I've gone to a new city, I've always signed up for, soccer teams. And the first season or two it's fun, but it's not enjoyable because I don't know the people with me, and sometimes they're jerks, sometimes they're good. But by the time you build a group and then you form your own team of your friends and people you like to be around, that's, win or lose, you're just having much more fun because of the people. And so I never thought of the idea of curating my own patients by investing into the ones that want to invest in me. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why you're smart and you're one of my mentors, Jen, because you always you give me ideas like this that just start changing the way I think about things.
That's very gracious, Aaron. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. So, thank you, and I appreciate you making time with your new practice opening up, and I think we need to have another conversation at a different time about how you opened with a full schedule, because that just doesn't happen.
Crazy. It's just crazy. I can tell you 100% not me. It's the branding, it's the beyond your eyes, it's the surround sound marketing. Part of it's our established patients in practice. Part of it's being in the right place at the right time. It's not just one thing, but as a business owner, you're always working on all the things, right?
Yep. So I love it. Well, Jennifer, thank you again very much. Glad your dog found something besides your gardeners to yell at during the last 50 minutes. So kudos to him. He gets a bone from me.
We'll give him a treat.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aaron. Take care. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and our YouTube channel, both linked in the show notes. Now, here's something exciting. We're giving away a 1-year subscription to Comprehensive Optometry Simplified. All you have to do is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, take a screenshot, and email it to me at questions@icodeeducation.com. We'll put that in the show notes as well. We'll be selecting a winner on December 15th, so don't miss your chance to get access to this valuable resource. Thanks again for listening. I can't wait to see your reviews.